Welcome to Math Lesson 213. Before we begin, take a look at my photograph of a chickadee. Okay, let's start math. Each person in the U.S. uses about 50 gallons of water per day. Use this information to complete the table. So, in 2 days, a person would use 100 gallons of water. I did 50 plus 50 equals 100. How about in 6 days? How many gallons of water would a person use if they're using 50 gallons a day? So I'm thinking about adding 50 6 times. I can also think about this as needing to do 6 times 50 to get the number of gallons. To make it easier for myself, I can add 50 and 50, 50 and 50, and 50 and 50. There's my 6 50s. They each equal 100. So that'll be 300 gallons of water. Can you figure out for 10 days how many gallons of water would a person use? That would be 500. How can we use that information to help us solve for 30 days? 10 equals 500 gallons. 30 days, 3 10s, 10, 20, 30. 3 of these. So in 30 days, it would be 1,500 gallons of water. Can you figure out for 365? Give that a try. Remember our function machines? A number goes in, that's called our input. And inside the machine, we follow a rule. Something happens to the number, and a number comes out, that's called our output. Let's see how this works with the math message we just did. So, in our math message story, the rule to get from the input to the output was multiply by 50. What did the inputs represent in our story? The inputs were the number of days. What were the outputs in our story? The outputs were the number of gallons. So in our first example, 2 days times 50 gallons of water equals 100 gallons. Our input was 2. Our output was 100 because we followed the rule times 50. So there are 4 main types of function problems. And in the first type, we have our rule, we have our inputs, and we have to follow that rule to get the output. So for example, 30 goes in, I subtract 15, what would come out? 15 would come out. If 90 goes in, follow my rule and subtract 15, what would come out? 75. Now, type 2, I have my rule again, but now I have my outputs. So I have to be careful. I'm following my rule from my input, follow my rule to get to my output. So I have my output. Let's think about this. This is saying some number plus 100 gets me to 350. What number plus 100 would bring me to 350? 250. What what number plus 100 would get me to 120? 20. Now in my third type, I have my input, I have my output, but I don't know the rule. I have to be careful. If I just look at my first example and I come up with a rule, I may be wrong. I have to make sure that the rule I'm thinking applies to all of my examples. Every number that goes in follows the same rule to get this output. So what could be happening here? 7 goes in, 49 comes out. Well, the numbers are getting bigger. Could it be addition? 2 goes in, 14 comes out. Doesn't seem like adding will work here because 7 plus a big number is going to get me to 49, but 2 to 14, that's only going to be plus 12. And then 9 to 63, 600 to 4,200. What could my rule be? My rule was multiply by 7. Now, the fourth type of puzzle is the trickiest because I'm missing my rule, I'm missing some outputs, and I'm missing an input. So I have to change the kind of thinking that I'm doing and really pay attention. First, I need to figure out the rule. So 1 goes in and $3.75 comes out. So my rule must be about what something costs. One item cost $3.75. We've got to make that smaller. One item costs $3.75. So if one item costs $3.75, what would 2 items at $3.75 cost? See if you can solve that. Did you get $7.50? Now, how many items would I need to buy for my cost to be $18.75? I know it's going to be more than 2. I'm even thinking it's going to be greater than 4 because $7.50 plus $7.50 is going to bring me to $15. That's if I bought 4. How many items did I buy for the cost to be $18.75? Did you get 5? Okay. So today we talked about the function machine for the What's My Rule puzzles. We talked about the 4 main types and thinking about what you need to do to solve them. Are you missing an input, an output, the rule? Tomorrow when you come into school, your entrance slip will be to solve some of these What's My Rule puzzles. Thank you.